Hi everyone, this is CeeCee and thanks for joining me for another documented life project. This is week 15 and that week's challenge was to use acrylics and the prompt is cry me a river. So I'm going to start by applying a layer of gesso with a palette knife, and I'm not being careful. In fact, I do want some texture, so that's why I went for a palette knife. I'm going to be doing a very abstract landscape. And for this, I'm using Dina Wakley's paints. I love them, they're heavy body, and right now I'm just dry brushing them over the gesso, and this is to create a variegated sky. I'm going to be adding lots of colors to this. So I'm using sky, turquoise, yellow, which is called lemon, magenta, and you're going to see me erase some of that paint, and that's why I love to use gesso, because if you make a mistake you can always remove some of the paint. If it's not too dry, it's not too difficult. What was happening here was that the yellow and the blue were mixing together and was creating green, and I didn't want green in the sky. So I was able to remove some of that yellow paint. The secret to have all the colors as distinct as possible is to let each of the color dry. And then that way, once they're dry, they're permanent, so they're not going to mix together. So I'm just, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually drying all of that so that the next colors that I'm applying, they won't mix. Okay, so now that the sky has been created, I'm going to use two pieces of underpaper that I had in my stash to create the river. So I'm ripping the paper apart with my hands, and I'm trying to give it some sort of wavy movement, but it was rather difficult, so I decided not to stress too much about it. As long as I had a good variety of color, I was fine with that. So I'm going to glue everything down with the soft matte gel medium by Dina Wakley, and I'm going to be conscious about the colors that I'm gluing next to each other so that I get a good contrast between the colors as much as possible, but they're mainly greens and blues. In order to secure all little pieces of collage paper, I'm going over with a layer of gel matte medium, and I'm trimming off the excess once it was dry. And now I'm adding some white clouds, again dry brushing the white paint on the sky. It needed contrast as well, and also I needed to tone down the colors because I didn't want that, or the sky, to compete with the river. The star of this page is the river. So by adding white, it kind of toned it down and made the river a little bit more prominent. I'm using here a micron pen to try and isolate the different pieces of landscape, but it wasn't working well for me, so I switched to a big brush pen by Faber-Castell. And so my landscape is pink and yellow, because I can. And the river, what I'm doing here is going around each of the collaged pieces to create the waves. And I love doing that. I love the effect. It's a lot of fun, and all of a sudden all the colors of these different papers are coming back to life. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and again, it's so much fun to do. You just follow what the paper is telling you to do. It's a no-brainer essentially. All right, so while I was dry brushing the pink in the sky, it left some streaks because I was going not only horizontally but up and down. So, and I like that, and I thought they looked like trees. So that's why I had the idea to put in pink trees, but the palette knife is not really working for me. As you can see, I have like big fat lines, which I'm not crazy about, but I mean, it is what it is. I left that in. So I'm going to switch to a gift card, and that was a lot easier to do. So I'm adding trees to the left, to the right, a little bit towards the middle. And it's just fun. I mean, that's what art journaling is, just to experiment and to have some fun. And because I decided right from the get-go that this piece would be abstract, I didn't mind my pink trees. In fact, I really like them. And I'm going to add some lime green to create some leaves in the trees. And I'm using the palette knife for that. These are letters by Basic Ray. They're letter stickers that I had in my stash for a long time. And I had started to write the quote. It wasn't working for me, so that's why I decided to switch to stickers. And I also decided to embellish the prompt. So instead of just saying "Cry me a river," I added "and make it pretty," because I thought it was funny. It fit with the whole mood of that page. It's funky, it's bright, very colorful. So, but I have struggled with the word pretty because it was intersecting with the black line. So instead of moving all the letters to the left because I was too lazy, I tried to remove a bit of the black, and then I added some pink paint. That was a quick fix. I was lazy today and it looks okay. So I'm adding tears to the sky and I'm using a stencil with glass bead gel. This one is by Liquitex, and the difference between the Liquitex glass bead gel and the golden is that in the Liquitex, the beads are a little bit bigger. So it was a little bit difficult to have them go through the stencil, but I managed, and I love the look anyways. However, don't ask me about the name or the number of the stencil. I do not have that information. There's no markings on the stencil. All I know is that it's by Prima. The glass bead gel has a white base that turns transparent when it's dry. So, of course, this is wet. I just finished it, but you'll see from the photos at the end how it truly looks once it's dry. I'll have a full list of supplies in my blog post, and I will link that in the description box of this video. If you're watching directly on YouTube, you'll also find there a list of all my social media so that you can follow me. And I hope that you've enjoyed this very quick process video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below, and I will see you later. Bye.